Hi everyone, welcome to EdTechReview Voices. Today we have with us Seethaprasad, who is the founder and CEO of Tribyte, which is a future-ready learning management platform with 2 million plus registered users, and from being accessed by 11 plus countries in 10 plus localized languages, and has a product ranges between coaching, test prep, skill development organizations, higher ed, and K-12 institutions, and also has come up with a fantastic new product in the AI space, which is Dash. So, Sita, welcome first of all. I think this was more of a quick introduction from my side on Tribyte, but I would love to get a quick overview from you, and then we want to kind of probably jump onto the buzzword that is generative AI, which is always being talked about in all the, I would say, conversations and conferences worldwide.
Thank you, Utkarsh. It's always a pleasure to talk to you actually on all of this discussions on education. Let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Seethaprasad and I'm the founder of Tribyte. Tribyte primarily focuses on how we make learning itself more personalized and engaging. And we have been in the industry for last 12 years, where we have actually few premium customers like Akash, Vidya Mandir, primarily helping them to start their digital journey and being part of their journey. So at this point, we have a very stable learning management system, which actually scales to lots of users. But today's context is more on how AI itself can be integrated in LMS to make the learning more personalized and adaptive. I mean, that's the whole
Focus.
thing
Yeah.
we are focused on
And
this discussion.
I think in the last year or so, or probably more, I would say, Sita, all the conferences, panels, discussions, meetups that I've been part of. So generative AI is the word that everybody is kind of buzzing around. So I wanted to kind of start with probably that and have an overview of how generative AI is currently being used in the edtech industry. Maybe someone like you would be a good person to kind of talk about, and especially in the context of content discovery and creation, where the world is heading. So would love to kind of jump onto that before we go deeper onto the experience that you're having with these players.
Great. AI, was there earlier also. If you look at, we have been using in mobile phones, we have been using in actually various other factors, which was used indirectly. But with large language models, which is the Chat GPT, which came and revolutionized everybody in education, it has added lot of dimensions, typically in an education field. So education, from my perspective, if I look at, there are two primary or three primary players. One is the student itself. The second one is the educator or a faculty. The other is the organization. How AI can help in all of this, and how it has been actually impacting each of these various players. Let's talk a little on it. From the student perspective, the biggest challenge was the model, the online learning, which was taken was basically the single style, the single size fits all, right? It was the same course material which was given. The personalization was very limited actually, right? So with AI in place, we can start even thinking of how we can personalize, how we can make the learning more adaptive, how we can even localize to the student needs. We can talk in elaborate why it was a challenge earlier actually. Similarly, from the faculty perspective, there were a lot of mundane tasks like grading, reporting, analytics, which was done by the faculty. With tech like AI, when it applies, you could get the finer details. Or when we talk about content generation, right? When you're feeding the context to the AI, the amount of content you could generate to give it to the student where he needs it. A simple example is like when a student makes a mistake, if I have to give him 5 different questions on a similar topic, right? Which was a big challenge earlier, now becomes a very easy thing. From the institute perspective, the biggest thing for them actually is what type of student fits in actually, like the predictive analytics, what we talk about, which part of the tier 2 actually, how do we get the students, how do you train them so that the student who actually onboards onto this institute goes out with the flying colors. I mean, all of this can be done with a very powerful analytics, I mean, which AI enables. So there is an impact on all the three roles where AI can play a significant role to improve each of the roles. I mean, like in a way, they can be the whole learning outcome can be improved drastically. I mean. Okay.
Got it. And no, I think thanks for covering more from a benefit perspective. Before we go on to the challenges side of it, I'm sure from as an organization or as a learner or as a teacher, I wanted you to double click on probably the suggestive use of GenAI to create these personalized and engaging learning content for different learners. So I want you to probably go deeper onto what are the use cases and scenarios that you have seen across the clients that you have worked with.
Fantastic. I mean, see, let me talk about the challenges first. Why was it not? I mean, because we have been in the industry for last 12 years and we had a adaptive learning 3 years back itself, but it was not fully usable because of the challenges. I mean, like the fundamental challenge when we talk about personalization or adaptive is I need to have a huge amount of content with
Content, yeah.
varying needs actually, right? So what do we mean by personalization? There are three students who are at three different levels. I might need attention on one specific concept, whereas somebody else need attention on a different concept. But there's a student who is a master or a specialist in that he needs only a specialized domain. Like now, being an institute catering to each individual needs becomes a huge challenge.
Absolutely.
So yeah, now with AI, with large language models, when you give all of this material to it actually and do some amount of training, you could actually generate content as per the student needs. So let's assume that, okay, a student who is weak in mathematics on a specific, let's say algebra, you could actually just identify that. There were two aspects. I mean, one is identification, the other is the remedial one. I mean, like, right? Both were challenge. I mean, like when you're doing education at a large scale, finding or giving an individual attention was a challenge. And the tools required for it to even identifying or pinpoint was a challenge. Now, generating content basically for satisfying to that depth was also a big challenge. Now with AI coming in place, you could generate content like questions. Like you can say, I mean, one of the features what we have in our platform is you can say, give me 25 questions on this specific concept. The system generates, you could validate once and put in place actually, which was a big challenge, right? The next is adaptability. I mean, as and when the user is learning actually, somebody has to follow the user and find out where are the gaps and then start changing the content. Like the content can be a video or it can be a document, what user likes actually, right? Adapting to his needs. Okay, a human cannot do it, whereas a system can automatically adapt the learning material or a learning path to his needs as and when he traverses. The third bigger aspect is finding somebody who is similar to you, woman, like, right? See, I come from a tier 2 and I understand videos where the English spoken is very slow or it has a lot more Hindi in the delivering the content. Okay,
Got it.
this finer aspects you identifying from student to student and giving is a challenge, whereas the system can find out, okay, hey, this it can find out the various attributes and okay, they come from a similar region, similar school. Okay, maybe the videos which were earlier used by the student or liked by the student might be useful for that. All of this makes the learning itself more personalized and helping him to actually address his needs. I mean, that's the primary challenge which was there.
I agree completely, and I can imagine how it can solve. But at the same time, when you say generating content as per the need, how do you ensure the quality and relevance of the content generated by GenAI, Sita?
Yes, this is one of the very critical aspects of saying, okay, the content what is created, is it right, wrong, it is appropriate. So what we have done actually is it's still not fully automatic in a way. What we do is we give these tools to the faculty who can generate, and they do one human touch. Okay, so there are multiple aspects when we talk about a large language model. Typically gives output based on the data on which it is trained actually, or data on which you're going to feed in actually to get the output. So the data what is there actually, right, has to be up to date. So there are multiple models. What we follow is something called RAG, where the context is fed for every question, and we ask the AI to generate within the context actually. So there are when we talk about content generation, right, there are few aspects. One is the content being relevant to the student, like a class 5 or a class 8. The same question what is asked need to be different actually, right? The quality of the question, the depth of the question has to be different. So it means the context need to be differently fed and it is generated. The next is there is definitely a human touch which is required to make sure there is nothing wrong which we are giving to a student, right? So
Correct. Yeah.
that's the most important aspect
Because
actually.
I'm sure that would be a concern for many of your, let's say, clients
Yep.
who are using it, right?
So far, everybody wants to see it once before it goes, actually, right? That's the whole thing. So, no,
Yeah.
see, we are in a phase where the AI is not fully trusted, actually. It will take
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? So,
No, absolutely. And if I were in their shoes, I would want to see that as well, right? So because it is sometimes probably the capability of that tech is not believable, I would say. But at the same time, some of the, let's say, uh, other solutions that they have tried might have not worked as well. So I think those things also have happened, and that all creates a mindset for someone who is evaluating that product, right?
absolutely, because the rate at which the technology is changing in last, like, let's say 1 year, the absorption is very difficult. Like the GPT-3, 3.5 and 4. The amount of things what it can do actually, right? Is tremendous. So it's very hard to believe that, okay, tech can do a lot of stuff, but that's the evolution in which that's the pace at which things are moving. And for now, having a human touch where you do one pass and then putting across, or having systems which in place which always keep validating or verifying that, okay, whatever is generated is relevant to the audience what you are looking at, is an important consideration. Like any answer what is generated, is it relevant to the audience? Like, is it a class 5 material, or a is it engineering, whatever the target group you are looking at? Everything has to be tuned. It's not that AI understands everything and gives you. You also have to give feedback to it. This continuous feedback cycle is what makes both the systems actually evolve, and you would reach a point where the systems actually would be doing exactly what you need.
Get
Okay.
it. And these are all what you have been practicing or implementing, let's say, in the product and with the clients or with the let's say students. But do you also see what do you feel is the unexplored potential of AI in learning? Probably what are some of the current and future trends or innovations in Gen AI for learning that you are foreseeing?
See, right now, if you look at the textual models was what made very popular. Like large language models are purely text based actually, whereas the GPT, the newer ones are called multimodal, where it can see, it can take images. So one of the biggest thing is, which is unexplored is, can AI start detecting my emotions? I am basically, let's say there's a virtual tutor like the way we are talking, and system finds out that I am under stress, or I'm not able to do it, or I need help. That's something which I think requires a lot of evolution, I mean, like, which is not explored much, but I think the work is already happening actually, I mean, where the emotional part, the empathy part is something which will start happening, which is not much effort has gone in there, with multimodals actually coming in place where the vision is becoming more and more powerful. A lot of new things would start coming, which would change the way education is also delivered actually.
Got it. And do you think is that a demand from some of these, let's say, clients that you are working currently, and then is that a request that has come up, or is that something that people are eyeing in terms of capability that is possible in the future?
I would say yes and no. At this point, they are just ingesting what is there in the market, trying to see how they can adapt to what is already available. But this is an important consideration actually, because when we talk about the human touch, it's more about somebody looking at you and giving that understanding you, right? That aspect is not there actually at all. I'm not saying the human touch will go away when the AI comes over, but having that aspect would make the solution totally to a different level. There is some amount of actually requirements on it, but at this phase, it's more about trying to understand what is available, how do they adapt to these systems and make the full use of it.
Got it. And most of the cases, Sita, what I've seen is that generative AI is kind of spoken about in silo. But how do you see generative AI coexisting with other emerging technologies? Because this is a topic that is not much talked about. Other emerging technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality, gamification, to create more of a holistic learning experience.
I would say they go hand in hand, because AR VR is all about immersive learning, right? Simulated learning or immersive learning, experiencing what is actually in a virtual reality, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas AI is more about personalization. So when you put them together, it will be a personalized immersive learning. That's what would be, and it is a fantastic thing where both of them work hand in hand. Imagine a virtual tutor who's coming in front of you and showing you the models actually as per your needs, I mean, as per your mastery. I mean, like, let's say, even if you look at the simple concept of anything, right? My level might be totally different. That understanding that level is done by an AI, where it finds out this user is at this mastery level, and bringing actually the models into a virtual reality, which will make me understand those concepts. Because if you put me onto a totally different level, I may not understand it, right? So it both going hand in hand would actually enhance the learning to a great extent. So in my opinion, AR, VR and AI would go hand in hand in education, where the learning can be taken to a highest level possible.
Yeah. No, I am imagining what that should be and could be probably for the students today. So probably in our time, it was not something that was
Yep.
so easily accessible. But yes, very excited to know about I would say, the amalgamation of these technologies. So I think from your experience, Sita, what are your recommendations? Because you have been speaking to so many stakeholders, so many clients. What recommendations would you give to educators or students, or these educational or edtech organizations who are looking to harness the power of GenAI for the benefit of learning?
So, I mean, from the education institute perspective, the first thing is AI is going to happen. So it means, I mean, they have to put the infrastructure or necessary investment basically to make it happen. I mean, if you don't do it, you will be behind actually, right? So, so the first step is one is the training the training your faculty to understand what these technologies are and how can they adapt or how can they learn to use them in their day-to-day use. I mean, like, so some amount of training and basically applying them onto the curriculum, is an important aspect. Next is putting the necessary investment to put the technology in place to use AI itself. Actually, that's the second big thing. Having some sort of a feedback loop where all the stakeholders, like the parent, the student, the faculty, all of them would give feedback onto the system what they have put across, so that the system evolves over a period of time to make it actually as better as possible. Because all of these organizations have a magic formula where today they can get a very consistent good output. Now what we are looking at is applying a technology which would help them to scale that magical formula what they have to the next level. Now that will happen only when all the stakeholders get trained, necessary investment happens, and basically the feedback is put across to make it evolve. So these are the three important factors. Like the acceptance is the key thing. Like now there is some amount of resistance for tech, but I'm pretty much sure the benefits would overtake the resistance what they have.
Yeah, and I think post-COVID also that resistance has gone much down, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so the adoption has gone really up. Obviously, the propensity to pay is obviously on the value add, but at the end of the day, nobody's turning their back to it because they want to really explore the value add actually.
Yes, and sometimes there's a feeling that, okay, this new tech would basically replace people or make certain
Yeah,
people redundant.
the most
That's,
most common, yeah, most
yeah,
common question, yeah.
and that builds the resistance in everywhere actually, right? But in a way, as history says, no technology has, it's all about adapting and evolving to the newer challenges. It's just upgrading your skill set to a different skill set so that you can do your job a lot more better. That's the way I would put it across. So these three factors, right investment, right training, and good feedback loop will help the organization to have a good technology and AI system, which would help them to scale and also get a better learning outcome.
Awesome. And all of these learnings and conversations and research and developments that you've done has translated into a product, right? So tell us about Dash and how is it different from, let's say, some of the other available Gen AI assistants.
So Dash, see, as I told you, we have been in the industry for 12 years, and all the pain points and challenges where we were not able to put the tech to use, we have put all those, we have solved to a large extent all those challenges through Dash. So Dash is primarily a AI engine which integrates with the LMS and built on a large language model. So some of the challenges which I talked about, the content generation or a virtual tutor, or having a ability for student to get notes or similar questions, all of this has been built in Dash. Mainly the Dash stands for Doubt Assistance and Solution Helper. So it's like a virtual tutor for a student available all the time to help him to actually improve his learning outcome at any point. Like there is a system which keeps on giving you the questions what you need, or a flashcards what you need, or answers or notes on the learning need what you have. At the same time, Dash, from the faculty perspective, it behaves more like a assistant for the faculty, helping them to grade assignments or helping them to localize the content to a different language, or a lot of repetitive tasks like generating index or generating or making the video itself more interactive by putting questions. All of this which were done manually, right? We have a fleet of suite of actually tools or features which would help the faculty to put all of this in place, like the gamification or having different set of questions or flashcards, which took time for people to customize. Now there is a tool which can help you to do all of this on an LMS itself. So you just use the tool and verify it once. I mean, like basically just check it once to make sure it fits your need and make it available to the students. So Dash has two primary roles. Primarily one as a virtual tutor, or a companion, I would say, I mean a learning companion which would help the student on a continuous learning journey. Then the learning assistant for the faculty. I mean that's the
Yeah.
what all the
And
pain
help.
points.
So
Go ahead.
typically helping the faculty spend more time with the students
Absolutely,
indirectly.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. And how do you customize or personalize Dash for different domains and use cases? Because do you think there are some GenAI use cases or challenges peculiar to different verticals or geography? Because you are talking about the vast capability of this tech, right? And I'm sure you see it more deeply in terms of different verticals or geography as well.
Absolutely. I mean, like, see, if you look at no single tech, like no single style works for all students, no single tech can work for all the verticals, actually, right? It has to be customized. So we have taken it live on a medical domain, on a K-12 domain, and the amount of learnings what we got is totally like, it's fascinating. I mean, like the way uh, like when I talk about medical, it's primarily MBBS and postgraduate students. The way the responses have to be generated, the way the flashcards have to be generated, for those need is totally different from the way you would answer for a K-12 scenario. So it means
Yeah.
the way the prompts have to be built, the way you train, all of this is totally different. A simple example I can talk a little bit elaborating is on a medical domain, we talk hugely of images, and when somebody talks about saying, okay, hey, I'm looking for an image of this specific scenario, we may need to pull out those images and present it to the user with details, actually. Whereas in a K-12, it's more about interactive, giving the answers in a small snippets. So K-12 is more conversational, whereas in a medical, it's more transactional. I have a requirement, you give me the answer, I'm happy with it. I will not converse. Whereas
Get
in
it.
a K-12, the kids go on, actually, right? I mean, what is this? What is more? I
Yeah.
mean, they are more curious. The
Sequential.
curiosity is
Yeah.
very high, actually. So
Yeah.
the way you would train and the way you tweak the prompts are also different. So it's a learning. I would say each vertical requires a customization, and Dash is built in such a manner that this customizations can be done very easily sitting next to the specialist of the domain. Like K-12 pay sitting with the teachers, or in a medical domain sitting with the doctors, tweak the responses in a way the end user would want to see. And the when it comes to the country, again, I mean, the lot of legal the legal, what you call, actually the rules or the way you would respond would change, actually, right? The way you would answer to a certain question, actually, in for a US customer is totally different from the way you would answer to a Indian customer, actually,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the belief system, the religion, there are a lot of factors. So this needs to be taken care, otherwise it will result in a lot more confusion and
Yeah.
chaos, actually.
No, and I think being content agnostic gives that power, but at the same time, you have to uh, understand these nitty-gritties that you're talking about. So I
Absolutely, yeah.
absolutely agree. Agree. No, I think thanks for these insights, Sita. And before we kind of leave, I wanted you to probably answer if there are any stones unturned for you in your vision to make learning personalized and adaptive through this platform. So are there any things that are immediately at the back of your mind to kind of implement or see implementation of?
The one, I mean, like we talked about it quite a lot, but as you said, putting AR, VR, and AI together is something which is actually we are working on, but we are in a very beginning stages on
Early.
that.
Yeah.
So that would change the way people learn. Okay, so but the technology is changing so fast. We are also continuously evolving with the need. But as I said, the primary goal of Tribyte is to make the learning more personalized and engaging. With that goal, we will be working more and more tools which would help the faculty and the students to go along this journey actually.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I wish you luck on this journey as well going forward. And thank you so much, Sita, for your time and insights.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Utkarsh, to having me here. And it was always pleasure. It's always pleasure to talk to you, man. Have a nice day.
Same,
Bye-bye.
same here, Sita. Thank you.